Okay, well, today we're super excited. We get to talk with Kevin and Elsa, who were members of Nen Daiko for quite a while, just before I joined. So we didn't get to play together, but I'm looking forward to hearing about what Nen Daiko was like during their time. So Kevin and Elsa, thank you so much for making the time. It's really awesome.
Thanks. We're very excited to participate in this 30th anniversary.
Yay, cool, cool. Okay, so our first question is, what brought you to Nen Daiko in the first place? Why did you join?
Okay, so I will take this on. And because in preparation for this interview, I went back into my emails. Thank goodness for Gmail, like archives back to, practically 20 years. So I'm going to read, it's kind of cute. I'm going to read a snippet of my intro email to the info@Nendaiko generic email. And that's basically the story of how we came. So the subject line is interested in joining Nen Daiko. Hello, I found out about Nen Daiko through a Google search for taiko groups in the DC area. Oh, by the way, sorry, this is dated March 22nd, 2008. So, hello, I found out about Nen Daiko through a Google search for taiko groups in the DC area, and I've since checked out your website and MySpace page.
MySpace.
I'm a young professional who lives in Arlington and works in DC. I'm also a drummer of about 14 years who hasn't played in any organized fashion in over 4 years. I really want to get back into playing and performing in an ensemble. I've been interested in taiko drumming for years. I understand that you hold auditions on an as-needed basis and that you're in your peak performance season right now, which is true. It was March 2008. Is there a possibility you will have any openings for new members in the near future? I'd be really interested in joining the group. In any case, I'm definitely going to try to check out one of your performances next weekend during the Cherry Blossom Festival. Smiley face. So from that, it turns out that Emily responded. She invited me to a workshop in May. And then from the workshop in May 2008, the Nen Daiko held a 5-week training series, I guess, in the summer of 2008. And so that's when I brought along Kevin to the 5-week training series. And then after that, in the fall of 2008, we were invited to be trainee. Well, we were invited to become, it was our decision whether or not to do it. We were invited to become like official trainees. So that, yeah, we became official trainees in fall 2008. And then we're training, obviously, up through our first performance season of spring 2009.
Wow, that is very impressive that you found that email. That is so
Go Gmail.
Yeah, seriously. Wow. And Kevin, do you have anything to add to your memories of getting roped into this adventure?
I mean, I think we were, so both of us have some music background. I'm more sort of classical music, so I've trained for a long time as a classical pianist. And I also play flute and clarinet, and had performed as a part of band, but also as an individual performer over the years just growing up. And so I think we both had just strong ties to music that we weren't ready to give up just yet, and wanted to find something that allowed us to both do like a fun musical thing, but also like I'm familiar with taiko only through things that I've seen on TV or like performances, videos, performances, and things like that. But it always came across as being a very sort of like physical and kind of very intense activity. And I think we were also, in addition to looking for something musical, we were looking for something physical and kind of fun for both of us to do together. So it kind of checked a lot of boxes for us.
Nice. Well, I'm so glad that you connected with Nen Daiko then and we're vital members. So cool. Okay, so this has been a while ago, but do you have a favorite Nen Daiko song that you remember playing, and why was it your favorite?
Do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So I'll start with for me, I think the song that there's a couple of songs that always stuck out for me. One of them is Kasumi. in part because it is a very sort of like, it starts off as a very kind of, there's sort of that mournful fue piece that at the very beginning, and then it becomes a very kind of intense performance piece. So it kind of encompasses a lot of different things. And as much as I enjoyed playing on the taikos themselves, I did also, because I was one of the few folks who picked up and learned the fue, partly because I have some of that musical background from playing the flute. I was able to pick some of that stuff up quickly, and so I got to learn the pieces for Kasumi as well as for Greg wrote Wanderlust, and I learned that on my own as well, based off of his sheet music. And so those are the songs that I actually remember the most, is the ones where not just where I got to play on the taiko, but also that I got to perform with some of the other instruments and in other parts.
That's cool. And also,
Nice.
what was your favorite?
Yeah, so in thinking about this question, I have two answers, and they're both actually very physical pieces. And I think also what ties both of them together is memory of the learning process and the physicality of the learning process. So the first one I will say is Yamabiko. And also in going back through the Nen Daiko's website and realizing, oh yeah, we were actually there through the various iterations of Yamabiko. We started learning while the taiko was in the horizontal position, and then we were part of the change to the angled position. And I believe towards the end of our time, again, our full time was 2008 to 2012. I believe at the end of our time, we started getting into the triangular formation of Yamabiko. So we kind of have seen all, or at least at that time, those changes in that song. For me, the physicality was extremely memorable because I remember learning it at first, and literally not like feeling like, oh my God, I cannot get through this. I'm like out of breath. I'm barely holding it together. I can barely hold my arms up. I just remember the physical exertion and exhaustion from that piece. Obviously, then, like after you have muscle memory and after you have some endurance, then it's just a really, really fun piece. But I certainly remember learning it, and obviously the call response. It's just, yeah, it's super fun, and different pairings. You get to experience it with different people right across from you. So that's super fun. My second answer to the question is Buchiawase. Buchiawase is also super physical, especially if you're around the Odaiko and you're part of that sort of triplet of drummers for the Odaiko. And the learning process also was really interesting because this was a brand new song for Nen Daiko. I can't remember, certainly maybe Lisa Iwahara at the time, now Nakamura, would probably be able to answer the question of when exactly, but she was the one who introduced it to the group. And it was everyone, Nen Daiko veterans and newer members like us, were learning it at the same time. So it was a really amazing collective learning experience, as well as, again, just the physicality of it. And then inside the song itself, the energy, the momentum, the dynamics of it, going slow to fast, going quiet to loud, and back down, all of that makes it a favorite as well.
Nice. Yes, I can empathize so much with the things you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kevin, I play fue, but right now just for Satori, that's the only song. I mean, I'm practicing the other songs, but I'm not ready. So hard. I had never played the flute, so it was a steep learning curve. Okay. So what do you think was your favorite part of being a Nen Daiko member?
I think for me, a big part of it was just feeling like we were always surrounded by friends and family, right? The opportunity to just be a part of that group and get to know folks not just as peers, but actually as friends, and actually like really develop close relationships with everyone during the time that we were there. Um, After a really intense practice, all of us going and getting dinner at glory days, or even on days where we didn't, just going home and picking up some food on the way, scarfing it down, and then just being so tired that we basically went to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Right on the after the Sunday practices.
Yes.
And it was just there was just a sense of like everybody knew that we were working towards something great and something fun, and being able to kind of have, again, build those relationships, have that tight knit group of folks that we could really count on, and again sort of build those close friendships with. That was really, I think, for me, an important part of being in Nen Daiko at the time.
Yeah, similarly, I would say hands down community. The word community, the feeling of it was so important at the time, and I actually think even more important to me looking back on that time, as we've had some distance from that time. But yeah, and now I'm gonna do a little fun little reveal, because I've like thought about this, and I only recently saw and then bought this t-shirt. But along with community, and part of what makes community is food. So this says Hawaiian protein bar.
That's
And
hilarious.
this is a photo, this is a picture, a
Spam
drawing of spam musubi. And it's very relevant because we, both of us, have only had spam musubi because of Nen Daiko. We were introduced to it. Here, I'll step back again. I
That's
like
awesome,
it's
sure.
fun, it's whatever.
Yeah.
We were introduced to it through Nen Daiko. We were introduced to, I feel like, a lot of sort of Japanese American and Hawaiian types of foods.
Right.
Oh, like butter mochi.
Butter mochi,
Yeah,
certainly a favorite.
So yeah, I mean, similarly, as what Kevin said, the community, the food, the friendships, and relationships, and all of that coming together through a sort of physical, mental, musical, spiritual mechanism and group, as Nen Daiko is, it was just really, really special.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm looking forward to a bon and spam musubi and butter mochi and all those yummy treats.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Okay, cool. Next question is, so sometimes some of the kind of most vivid memories are where things maybe didn't go as planned. There was some unexpected things that happened in a performance, or it could be in practice. But can you think of any moments like that during your time when you were at Nen Daiko where you had to kind of improvise to recover from a situation like that?
I think this is a question that has maybe stumped us a little bit. But I can remember some things at practice that were just really funny, which is not quite answering the question. But at some point, I mean, and I might even have video of this. This was before cell phone videos were really prominent, but I think we had like what was it called? It's called a flip camera,
Yes.
which is just a separate little mini video camera device. And I have video of Greg and Maya on the ground trying to flip each other, like wrap legs around and like flip the other person or something. I don't know. So
I do remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's unexpected.
Sounds unexpected.
At least I can't remember anything, or nothing exactly stands out from like a performance standpoint.
Not to say that all the performances were flawless.
Oh,
It sounds like they were. No
certainly-
botches breaking.
But certainly nothing comes to mind where like something completely fell apart and wasn't like working out properly. I don't think we had anything that was quite that dramatic that I recall.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't that dramatic, like, yeah, it's just, yeah, we can't quite think of something, but yeah, there are always fun improv moments just anytime, together in practice.
That's true. That's true. Cool. Okay. Is there anything that you feel like you learned about yourself or the world by being a Nen Daiko member?
Okay, I'll take this. So it's similar to what I was saying before when, you know, the most favorite or the most special part of Nen Daiko was the community. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in reflection and with some time and distance away from Nen Daiko, I truly look not only fondly, but and to a certain extent longingly back at that time, because the feeling of community was so strong and so tight and so just yeah, just fun and memorable, which is such positive feelings and such just social relationships that for me it's sort of learning to an extent that that is certainly something that I need in my life, that's really important to me, that, you know, community culture and you know, to a certain extent performance or creativity. I've thought of it as like multiple C words, so like community, culture, creativity, all of that was sort of wrapped into Nen Daiko, and I've discovered about myself in reflecting upon that time that that is so important to me.
Yeah, and I think the the creativity thing is something that I think both of us still are looking for the right outlet
Right.
for us these days. I mean, even after leaving the DC area and therefore like not being able to continue on with Nen Daiko, I think each of us has continued to kind of find different opportunities to sort of have a creative outlet of some kind. And I think our latest sort of relocation that only happened just over a year ago hasn't yet settled into a point where we have found something just yet. But it is something that I think I certainly miss to a great extent. And also just the thrill of being able to perform as a part of the ensemble and as a part of the group is something that I think neither of us really has the opportunity to do right now. But I, you know, and not to say that we didn't just try looking when we first actually came back to the LA area. It was something that we had hoped to be able to continue to do, was to kind of seek out the opportunity, and then just a lot of life got in the way of that actually happening.
Yeah.
But I think it is something that we both treasure tremendously as a part of our time in DC. And you know, the relationships, like we still have occasional outreach to the Nen Daiko folks, and vice versa. And so it is something that I feel like I said, like I said earlier, like we built a bond, we built a relationship with everyone, and we feel strongly that we'd love to continue to kind of keep that up.
Cool. Well, I mean, it sounds like you have a model and you'll get there. It's tough moving home. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I don't know if you have any specific memories of a performance that really stand out in your memories of being outstanding in your tenure at Nen Daiko.
Well, so you mentioned Obon coming up, and for me, that was always one of the performances that stood out because it was a community-oriented performance, and it was something for Ikoji that, you know, that the group did and got a chance to be a part of. But also, in particular, there was one year we went up to Seabrook and performed with all of the East Coast folks in Seabrook at their Obon, and that was a really memorable experience because it really gave us a chance to get to know some other folks from other groups in sort of the New England Mid-Atlantic area. And that was a really memorable experience because I don't think I know that I personally had not really been exposed that much to taiko before our experience with Nen Daiko, and just having the opportunity to then see all of these other groups perform and have that opportunity to kind of trade notes and get to know different folks and kind of learn a little bit about everybody's style and how their groups came to be was a really memorable experience for me.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, I have a different answer. And it's hard to, like, cherry blossom season is just like so intense and there's so many performances.
Yes.
So honestly, I can't quite parse them out right now. It's been what, 12 years at least since we left the group. But I can remember a very first cherry blossom performance. So the spring of 2009. And we were still trainees, so we were in the t-shirts.
Yeah.
And we were performing Renshu.
Yeah.
And and this was at the tidal basin, which I believe, I don't know, are they doing any performances there anymore? For a period of time, I think they were not.
Yeah, so in more recent years, we now perform at this stage that looks at the Washington Monument. So it's very close to the tidal basin, but I think that has replaced being right on the tidal basin.
Yeah, so the location was very memorable. It was like right on the tidal basin. The Jefferson Memorial was, very nicely in the background, or in the foreground, I guess, from the performer's point of view. And yeah, I mean, I just remember being nervous. I'm pretty sure I clicked my bocce, like, doing the rolls, and I clicked, and I don't know, it was sort of like, but yeah, I mean, it's just a very cool thing, just super cool to be able to perform on a stage like that. And, as a first performance, it's always, just sticking in your mind.
Yeah, no, it is a special, cherry blossom is something else. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're on our last question, which is, do you have any wishes for Nen Daiko's next 30 years?
I think for me, I would like to wish everyone that the group not only exists but thrives for another 30 years. I think it's been really fun getting to know over the years some of the alumni who have been a part of the group over the years, but also to sort of now be a part of that sort of illustrious group. I think it's been a really good experience for us to find this opportunity to reconnect and to show up when we're available, and to be available, and know that that we're always going to be here for the folks at Nen Daiko, and that they'll always be there for us as well. So I think for me, again, I think I want the group to thrive, continue to be a part of the culture of the DC area, and sort of be able to play that role in promoting the taiko culture throughout DC. I think that's what I would love to continue to see the group be able to do.
Nice.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, yeah, similarly, thrive is a great word. In thinking about 30 years and also our time within Nen Daiko's 30 years, I did the math.
Mm-hmm.
We were members during Nen Daiko's teenage years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty funny. So we were, Nen Daiko was 14 through 18, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
That's
while
so cool.
we were members. So, and I think actually I, like, to a certain extent, in terms of like what was going on both in our lives and also in the veterans or the founding members' lives, I believe not too long before we joined, Maya and Brant had gotten married, and then we saw the birth of their kids, and we saw the budding relationship between Greg and Lisa. So yeah, it was kind of this like similar, like the teenage years of the group. And now, the next 30 years, I guess, will go, I guess through middle age or whatever, the middle age of the group. And really, I hope that it continues, obviously, not only with the founding members, and obviously the most recent newer members, though I know like you all have been a part of the group for now many, many years.
Yes.
And also hopefully new generations. I do know that there's the youth taiko group. And so, yeah, I mean, hopefully it will grow and thrive and change as it enters, 30, 40 sort of adult and middle-aged years. And we'll see just, new faces, younger faces, and but carrying on a lot of the same, I think, both traditions as well as, welcome changes for the future.
That is the best metaphor. I can't wait for everyone to hear that. That's so funny. That's great. Well, thank you so much for making the time today. And we're so grateful that you're going to be part of our 30th anniversary celebration. And just thank you for all the ways that you've contributed to Nen Daiko's success over the years.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for inviting us.